The corner spot in Maple Ridge was the kind of place where everyone knew your name, where coffee refills came with gossip, and the jukebox hummed old country songs about lost loves and second chances. On that ordinary Tuesday afternoon, waitress Sarah Jennings moved between tables with practiced grace. Red vest, white shirt, hair clipped back, her tired smile hiding the fatigue of long hours. She was the kind of person who remembered your order before you sat down, who always found a kind word, no matter how bad her day had been. But that afternoon, everything changed. At a booth near the window sat a man Sarah had noticed before, a quiet stranger in a worn jacket, and a cap pulled low over his brow. He came in every few days, never said much, always polite. He seemed like someone who carried more memories than he wanted to keep. As Sarah wiped down the counter, the bell above the door jingled. 2 police officers entered, Officer Daniels, broad-shouldered with a bulldog face, and Officer Grant, his smirking shadow. The room fell still as they scanned the diner. Conversations faltered. Forks froze midair. Sarah felt the shift before it happened. Their eyes landed on the man in the booth. Daniels nudged Grant, and they strode toward him. "Hey, buddy," Daniels said, voice sharp. "Got some ID on you?" The man didn't answer. His hand stayed wrapped around his mug, eyes fixed on the swirling black coffee. Grant leaned closer. "We're talking to you. Don't make this harder than it has to be." The tension thickened. Sarah's gut tightened. She'd seen these 2 push people around before. Teenagers, shop owners, anyone who couldn't push back. But this was different. They weren't just asserting authority. They were looking for a fight. The man finally spoke, voice low. "Just drinking coffee. Not bothering anyone." Daniels laughed. "You look like trouble to me." He stepped closer. "Show me some ID or we're taking a walk." From behind the counter, Sarah's fingers gripped her rag. Her boss, Mike, caught her eye and shook his head, a silent warning. But something in her snapped. She'd grown up watching her mother be ignored, her brother picked on, her neighbors silenced. Not today. She set down the rag and stepped forward. "Officers," she said, her voice steady. "He's just a customer. Paid for his coffee. He's not doing anything wrong." Daniels turned, eyes narrowing. "Stay out of this, Sarah. Doesn't concern you." "It does when you're harassing someone in my diner," she said firmly. "You've got no reason to bother him." Grant chuckled. "Your diner? Sweetheart, you just pour coffee here." The room went silent. Sarah felt the eyes of everyone on her, the locals, the truckers, even the cook behind the grill. The man in the booth looked up then, and for the first time their eyes met. His gaze was tired but kind, a flicker of gratitude beneath the fear. "I'm not going anywhere," Sarah said. "If you've got a reason, say it. Otherwise, let him finish his coffee." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Daniel's face reddened. "You're making a big mistake, Jennings," he warned. "I'm not the one making it," she shot back. "You are." The man started to rise. "It's fine," he said softly. "I'll go." Sarah shook her head. "No, you stay." It was a small diner, but in that moment, it felt like the world had narrowed to that booth in her beating heart. Phones came out. A few locals began recording. Mrs. Carter, who'd known Sarah since she was a child, spoke up. "She's right. Leave the man alone." "Yeah, what's he done?" someone else called out. Daniels hesitated. The crowd's eyes were on him now. He muttered, "This isn't over," and stormed out, Grant close behind. Applause broke out, hesitant at first, then growing louder. Sarah's hand shook as she turned to the man. "You okay?" He nodded, voice barely a whisper. "Thank you. You didn't have to do that." "Yeah," she said, still trembling. "I did." That night, she didn't think much of it. Just another day standing up for what was right. But the next morning, everything changed. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Dozens of missed calls. Hundreds of notifications. Her little brother, Ethan, burst into the kitchen, phone in hand. "Sarah, you're viral." On his screen was a video, her voice ringing clear. "If you want to take someone out of here, it's not going to be him." The clip had millions of views. The hashtag Stand Like Sarah was everywhere. People called her brave, a hero. Others called her reckless, a troublemaker. At the corner spot, The air buzzed differently. Strangers came in just to meet her. Some asked for selfies. Others muttered disapproval under their breath. Mike pulled her aside. Cops came by earlier, he said. They're not happy. Be careful, Sarah. By nightfall, news vans lined the street. Reporters shoved microphones in her face. Why did you stand up to the police? Are you afraid? I just did what felt right, she said quietly. But the small town warmth of Maple Ridge was fading fast. One morning, someone egged her car. Another day, a note was slipped under the diner door. You'll pay for this. Sarah's hands shook as she read it. Ethan found her crying that night. You did the right thing, he said fiercely. You're not alone. Still, the pressure built. Some friends stopped calling. Mrs. Larson at the bakery no longer smiled when Sarah passed. Even the police chief defended Daniels and Grant on TV, calling it a misunderstanding. The diner's business dipped. Bills piled up. Her mom's medical treatments loomed over her like a shadow. Sarah began to wonder if doing the right thing had been worth it. Then one morning, a delivery truck arrived. Crates of brand new kitchen gear. Pots, pans, a gleaming coffee machine. For Sarah Jennings, the driver said, handing her a plain note. Keep standing tall. No signature. No sender. A week later, another envelope came. Her diner lease. Paid in full for a year. Anonymous again. Her mother smiled weakly from her hospital bed. Someone out there believes in you, honey. More gifts followed. Groceries left on her porch. New tires to replace the slashed ones. Envelopes of cash with no name. And online, hashtag Stand Like Sarah had become a movement. People across the country were posting their own stories of courage, of refusing to be silent. Letters poured in. One woman from Ohio wrote, I was afraid to speak up once. You showed me I don't have to be. Still, the danger lingered. Daniels and Grant were back on patrol, their cruisers circling the diner like sharks. Sarah refused to look away. Each morning, she walked through those doors, tied her apron, and kept serving coffee. Because that's what courage looked like. Quiet, steady, unshaken. The days that followed were a blur of exhaustion and hope. The corner spot had become both a battleground and a beacon. Some came for coffee. Others came to see the girl who stood up. Through it all, Sarah kept her chin up, her smile small but steady. Then one afternoon, the bell above the door chimed, and the man from that day returned. Same worn jacket, same cap. He sat at the counter, eyes following Sarah as she poured coffee. When she approached, he looked up and said softly, I owe you an apology and a thank you. She frowned. You don't owe me anything. I just didn't want to see anyone bullied. The man hesitated, then extended his hand. My name's Jordan Hale. The name meant nothing to her, but the way people turned their heads told another story. She realized a heartbeat later. Jordan Hale, the reclusive billionaire, CEO of a global tech firm who'd vanished from public life after his wife's death. He leaned closer, speaking low so no one else could hear. I moved to Maple Ridge to raise my son away from the spotlight. I came here that day because I wanted to feel normal again. Daniels and Grant recognized me. They thought they could intimidate me, maybe get a bribe to stay quiet. You stopped them. You didn't even know who I was. Sarah blinked, stunned. You're saying they... He nodded. You didn't just protect me from humiliation. You reminded me that decency still exists. He slid a folder across the counter. Inside were legal papers transferring full ownership of the corner spot to Sarah Jennings, along with funding for renovations and a small business grant. No strings, he said simply. This town and this diner need people like you. My son Timmy calls you his hero. I agree with him. Sarah's throat tightened. Mr. Hale, I can't. You already did, he interrupted gently. Just keep doing it. Renovations began almost immediately. The old booths were reupholstered, the flickering neon replaced with a soft golden glow. The jukebox still played old country tunes, but now the air buzzed with new energy. Sarah renamed it Heart's Brew, a symbol of second chances and community. The locals were skeptical at first, but curiosity brought them in. She hired Tom, a quiet homeless man who'd often lingered outside the diner window, peering in like he missed belonging somewhere. He became a morning cook, and his pancakes quickly earned their own following. His laughter, something rare before, echoed through the kitchen. Jordan's son, Timmy, started coming by after school. A shy kid with bright eyes and sketch-stained fingers, he began painting a mural on the diner's sidewall. He called it the Hero Project. It showed a waitress in a red vest standing tall before a crowd, her courage spreading light. Sarah blushed every time she saw it. But Timmy's smile made her heart ache in the best way. The community began to heal. Mrs. Carter, the first to speak up that day, started a weekly potluck at the diner. Even a few officers, not Daniels or Grant, but others ashamed of their colleagues, began stopping by quietly for coffee, their tips generous, their eyes humble. Sarah's mom, strong enough now to visit, baked pies for the menu. Her laughter filled the room again, a sound Sarah hadn't realized she'd missed so deeply. Her brother Ethan ran the diner's social media page, sharing pictures of customers, Tom's cooking, and the mural. The hashtag Stand Like Sarah surged again, not because of conflict this time, but because of what had grown from it. But not everyone celebrated her success. Carl Hendricks, the owner of a rival diner across town, had always resented the corner spot's popularity. Now he saw Sarah's rising fame as a threat. He spread rumors that she'd faked everything for attention, that the Billionaire story was made up. One night, vandals smashed Hart's Brew's windows. Sarah arrived at dawn to find the front glass shattered, shards glittering across the floor. She swept it up silently, refusing to let anger win. Soon after, Carl bribed a health inspector to cite Hart's Brew for petty violations, a smudge on the freezer door, a loose screw on a booth seat. Sarah stayed up all night cleaning, rechecking every corner until her hands were raw. When the inspector returned, he found nothing. Word spread, and Carl's diner started losing customers. Truth had a way of standing tall, even when lies screamed louder. Hart's Brew's grand reopening drew people from miles away. The line stretched around the block. The air smelled of cinnamon rolls and fresh paint. Timmy's mural glowed in the morning light, his signature written proudly in blue at the bottom. Sarah's mom cut the ribbon, her voice trembling with joy. This isn't just a diner. It's a reminder that kindness still wins. Inside, laughter filled the air. Tom flipped pancakes with flair. Ethan played music from the jukebox. Sarah moved from table to table, her red vest crisp, her smile genuine this time. Later that evening, Jordan and Timmy stopped by. Timmy ran straight to her, clutching a new drawing, a picture of the diner with the word home written above it. Sarah knelt down, hugging him tightly. "You did this," he said proudly. "No, kiddo," she whispered. "We did this." Jordan watched, his expression soft. "You turned pain into purpose," he said quietly. Maple Ridge needed that. Months passed. Hart's Brew became more than a business. It became Maple Ridge's beating heart. Families came for Sunday breakfast. Teenagers studied in the corner booths. Elderly couples danced slowly to jukebox songs. The diner pulsed with warmth and belonging. News outlets picked up the story again, this time not as controversy, but as inspiration. Maple Ridge's miracle, the waitress who rebuilt a town. They interviewed Sarah on live TV. She stood behind the counter in her red vest, eyes steady, voice calm. "I didn't do anything extraordinary," she said. "I just stood up for what was right. Kindness can change things. It's not easy, but it's worth it." The clip went viral again. But this time, it wasn't anger that spread. It was hope. Letters came in from all over the country. Teachers showing their students her story. Parents telling their kids, "Be brave like Sarah." Veterans, activists, and small-town dreamers all used hashtag Stand Like Sarah to share their own acts of courage. Sarah read every message she could, sometimes crying quietly behind the counter when no one was looking. One evening, long after closing, she wiped down the counters as the jukebox played softly. The diner lights glowed gold against the dark street outside. Her mom was laughing with Tom at a booth. Ethan was editing another social media post. On the wall, Timmy's mural glimmered in the low light, a testament to what bravery could build. Sarah paused, hand resting on the counter. The quiet peace of that moment felt heavier than applause, deeper than fame. She thought of the day it all began, the fear, the anger, the risk. She thought of how that one stand had rippled outward, changing not just her life, but her whole town. Courage, she realized, wasn't loud. It didn't need permission. It just needed someone willing to take the first step. She turned off the lights and stepped outside. The sign above glowed softly. Heart's Brew, where kindness grows. The streets of Maple Ridge were still and peaceful, the way they always had been before life got complicated. Sarah pulled her jacket tight, her heart light, because she knew, now more than ever, that one act of courage could rebuild a world. If this story inspired you, remember what Sarah proved. Standing up for what's right might cost you comfort, but it gives the world back its conscience. Sometimes that's all it takes. One voice, one choice, one stand. #StandLikeSarah.